Good evening and welcome to the Newshour Agenda. I'm Madhavdas GK. Can anyone attack India's sovereignty, unleash a terror attack, kill the sitting Prime Minister and walk free? The Supreme Court's order granting freedom to 6 killers of Rajiv Gandhi has kicked up a massive debate. Remember, the Dravidian parties have long lobbied for the release of Nalini, the only member of the suicide squad caught alive, and 5 others. The state cabinet under AIDMK had recommended their premature release, while Stalin, as the chief minister, pleaded to the governor for leniency on humanitarian grounds. Now, since the governor passed the buck and the files for 5 years, today, the apex court stepped in, upholding the power of the state to grant remission. However, the Congress has vehemently opposed the remission, calling it totally unacceptable and completely erroneous. But first, listen in to the 2 killers exclusively on Times Now, who after 3 decades of incarceration are set to walk free. Here's what Nalini and Ravichandran said.
மிக்க மகிழ்ச்சி. அதுக்கப்புறம் வந்து போலீஸ் டிபார்ட்மெண்ட் வந்து பேசக்கூடாது சொல்றாங்க. நாங்க வந்து உங்களுக்கு அப்புறமா பேசுறோம். நானு
இது வந்து மகிழ்ச்சி ஒரு பக்கம், ஆனா பெரும்பாலும் வந்து ஆறுதல் தான். எனக்கு வந்து ஆறுதல் தான் இது. என்ன காரணம்னா, எங்களுடைய வலி மற்றது துன்ப துயரங்களை தாண்டி குடும்பத்தினர், குறிப்பா என்னுடைய தாயார் வந்து கஷ்டப்பட்டு இருக்காங்க. அவங்களுடைய துன்ப துயரங்கள் வந்து முடிவுக்கு வந்தது வந்து ஒரு ஆறுதலா இருக்கு. அதான் பெரிய ஆறுதல்.
அப்புறம் அடுத்த கட்ட இப்ப நடவடிக்கை என்னவா இருக்கும்? இப்ப நீங்க வந்து விடுதலை பெற்றுட்டீங்க, அடுத்த கட்ட நடவடிக்கை என்னவா இருக்கும் உங்களுது?
என்னவா இருக்க போகுது? அடுத்து சிறையில இருந்து இப்போ நாங்க சிறையில தான் இருக்கோம். அதிகாரப்பூர்வமான ஆர்டர் வந்த பிறகு கையெழுத்து போட்டு விடுதலை பெறணும். அந்த விடுதலை உணர்வை வந்து 31 ஆண்டுகளுக்கு பிறகு புதுசா உணர போறோம்.
But DMK's ally, the Congress, has strongly objected to premature release of Rajiv's killers, even vowing to appeal against it. Listen in.
We intend to take all appropriate remedies available to us, be it review or any other form of legal redress, because we believe that we owe it to the people of this country and to the Supreme Court also on the legacy which it has built itself. The sovereignty, the integrity, the identity of the nation is involved in a Prime Minister's assassination, sitting or former. It doesn't matter whether you are Prime Minister, she's Prime Minister, I'm Prime Minister. It doesn't matter your color is X, Y or Z. And that is the continuity we are talking about, and that is perhaps why the central government has also never agreed with the state government view on this regard. Previous central government and this central government.
देखिए, सुप्रीम कोर्ट ऑर्डर दिया, सुप्रीम कोर्ट की अपनी मर्जी है। गांधी परिवार, राजीव गांधी की जो हत्याकारी, इनके खिलाफ गांधी परिवार की तरफ से कभी कोई अलग से पहल नहीं किया गया। जो कानून के मुताबिक जो होना है वो होगा।
The News Hour at 10, debate number 1 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
And for more on this, let's go across to our guest. Joining us live with us is Anurag Naidu, author. With us also is Namit Saxena, advocate on record of the Supreme Court. Kovai Satyan is spokesperson of the AIDMK. Dr. Syed Hafeez is spokesperson of the DMK. Lokesh Jindal is a political analyst who leans towards the Congress party. Also with us is advocate Ehtesham Hashmi, political analyst. Let me first and foremost start with the spokesperson of the DMK, Dr. Syed Hafeez. Dr. Syed Hafeez, there are many who are questioning. You know, one can understand that this is a very emotive issue. This is something that has, come in the DMK manifesto. AIDMK, DMK both, have spoken about this. But at the end of the day, the question that many are asking is that this is a case relating to the killing of the Prime Minister of India. It doesn't matter which party he or she belongs to, whether it is the Congress, the BJP, the DMK or any political party. And there has been a process of justice that has actually, been carried out. If you're going to undermine this process about 30 years later, there are many who are asking what is the message that we're sending out as a nation?
Yes, it is the same criminal system, the same judiciary which said that they can walk free today. It is not only we, it is not just the resolution passed in the assembly, but also a 30 years of legal scrutiny, judicial scrutiny, and after petitions in the apex court, today apex court has finally released them. So that is the point. One should understand that the Indian constitution is not retributive, but it is reformative. Okay, so there are many cases, there are many incidences in the Indian history, Indian judicial history, where life convicts have been released. The killer of Mahatma Gandhi was also sentenced for life. 14 years later, he was released by the Congress government itself on the grounds that life is not life. When there is a reformative action from the convict, he can be released. So the whole point, you have to concentrate on the
Mr. Hafeez, I just want to come in on 2 points. On 2 points that you're making over here. I just want to come in on 2 points. The first point that you made, that it is the same judicial system has set that free. There's no doubt about it. Of course, it is the apex court. But remember that it was a Perarivalan judgment that was cited in the case of these individuals. And what was cited in the Perarivalan judgment? The ground of inordinate delay. Not any ground of innocence of these individuals, sir.
Exactly.
So there's a huge difference over there that we're talking about. These are not innocent people. They have not been exonerated of the crimes that they've committed.
Nobody is saying they are innocent, sir. Nobody is saying they are innocent. Sir, the killers of Bilkis Banu were released, sir. They were also convicts, sir.
So that's exactly the point.
The BJP never.
So if we say that the BJP government has done wrong, then here the DMK government has also done wrong. We cannot have double standards. That's exactly the point I'm making.
We have followed the due process of law. We have never violated any process of law.
Be that as it may, sir. Be that as it may, the optics of this are entirely questionable. I want to bring in Anurag Naidu on that point. Anurag Naidu, we have followed the letter to the T as far as the law is concerned. We have seen what has happened in the Bilkis case. These are the cases where the state government, they may have subscribed to the letter of the law. There's no questioning that. But what are the optics? Both these instances are optics where, today Indians are standing and saying what exactly is our system, where people can shoot and kill a prime minister and they walk free 30 years later.
That's a clear optics, Madhav. I would like to slightly disagree with you on that. Tangentially, the reason being, what Supreme Court has done today is absolutely the art of displaying the optics, what India stands for. India was never a country for capital punishment. India was never a country for death, or India was never a country for kind of violation or violence on anybody. That was a preaching of the father of the nation, and that was a preaching, that was a preamble, and that was a constitution. The entire thing, the image of India in the global platform is that we are a merciful country. We live on the standards of benevolence. And even Congress party all these years have always shown some kind of a soft approach, and they've also been, because they claim to carry the Gandhian philosophy, and that's
so
what
I think. Why don't we do away with it, Anurag Naidu? Why do individuals such as Kasab, Afzal Guru, why are they hanged then? Let's do away with the death sentence if there's such a, a complete agreement across the board about how benevolent we are and how we are reformative and not retributive. Even when people commit the worst kind of crimes, why do we have the death provision at all? Is this not a rarest of the rare case in your view?
Oh, that's a very fantastic question, Madhav. I think that is something that we need to understand. Where are the lines that we need to draw? But, this being one of the political killings, in my view, and also, this had a history, because even when this killing was done, when the arrests were made and all these people went into the jail, the family, Gandhi family, was never very aggressive on the family as such. The party was aggressive, but family as such was never aggressive. So, if you need to see what kind of a traction a particular case is drawing, and also you need to see how many appeals have been made to the president on the court for a capital punishment. So in this case, whole of India, by and large, have been little benevolence. Yes, it is indeed very tragic, and it is very unfortunate that we need to see this situation. But this is a situation where it's very difficult for somebody like us to take a stand. But in the interest of everyone, they've had a punishment for 30 years. It is a very stringent imprisonment. They've undergone scrutiny, and I think they at least deserve to have be heard, and given a chance to change.
Let me quickly bring in fact, our panelists. You refer to the Congress party, so I want to bring in Lokesh Jindal, who leans towards the Congress party. Lokesh Jindal, this is a statement by Mr. Jairam Ramesh. He says the decision of the Supreme Court to free the remaining killers of former Prime Minister Shri Rajiv Gandhi is totally unacceptable and completely erroneous. The Congress party criticizes it clearly, finds it wholly untenable. It is the most unfortunate that the Supreme Court has not acted in consonance with the spirit of India on this issue. Several congressmen have expressed similar sentiments. But the point that is being made today is that if Priyanka Gandhi comes out in the public domain and says that she has forgiven the killers, if Mr. Rahul Gandhi also comes out and says something in similar light, that he has no problem if they are released, how can the Congress party today come out and publicly say something that is completely opposite to what has been said by the Gandhis in the recent past?
It is the large-heartedness, benevolence of Sonia Gandhi ji, Priyanka Gandhi ji. In fact, it was Sonia Gandhi ji who in 2000 met Nalini, and she got the death sentence converted into life imprisonment. And what my friend says that the entire nation has been sympathetic. So let me tell you, the entire nation is angry now. The entire Congress party is angry now. Even if the Gandhi family displays benevolence, but still there is a mood of anger amongst entire Congress party that such a beloved Prime Minister was killed in the broad daylight by a terrorist attack. What do you mean to say? The Yaqub Menon, Afzal Guru and all these terrorists who have been hanged, I mean, killing the Prime Minister of the country is something which is a little, which you think that people would be giving sympathy to? How dare you say such form of statements? I mean, in a public rally, the Prime Minister, he was bomb blasted, and rather than condemning that particular incident, putting forward some form of a precedent, the Supreme Court is letting the killers free, and you are justifying that particular incident? Shame on you. At this particular point of time, the entire nation must condemn such forms of release by Supreme Court. And my friend was talking about due process of law. So let me tell you, there's a huge difference between procedure established by law and due process of law. It is the procedure of law which simply blindly accepts whatever has been laid down by law. But when you talk about due process of law, it assesses whether justice is delivered or not. But in this particular act, the Supreme Court has buried the entire justice. In fact, following this particular procedure of law, the entire justice has been derailed. And there is huge agitation and protest amongst all congressmen and every fellow Indian.
All right, but those are very confusing signals. Nevertheless, I'm going to put that question across to the spokesperson of the DMK. Dr. Syed Hafeez, this is something that has agitated the Congress. You've heard the voice of Lokesh Jindal, who's saying there's a difference between due process of law and following the process of law.
We are very sympathetic to the workers of the Congress. In fact, the loss of Rajiv Gandhi is a loss of nation. There is no 2 points about it. No 2 points about it. Even DMK is sympathetic. We also mourn the loss of Rajiv Gandhi. There is no second thought about it. Now the question is here, 6 to 7 people who have been convicted and have spent 7 years of their life, 30 years of their life in the prison, and it is we have had instances where the life term has been converted and they have been released, premature release, depending upon the conduct, depending upon the behavior in the prison. This is the point which we are emphasizing. The reformative theory of the criminal system is what we are emphasizing here, that they have the liberty, they have the right to plead for premature release if they fulfill all the criteria.
So the rights to plead, nobody is questioning, but at the end of the day... Yeah, okay, Lokesh.
They took away one life. It is not some form of a criminal act for which you are talking about retributive form of justice system or reformatory. They took away the life of a former Prime Minister of India. A national leader, he was killed along with others.
We do not want to go into the trial, sir. 30 years of trial is over.
No, it is not the trial. It is not a trial. Dr. Syed Hafeez.
They have done.
Dr. Syed Hafeez, if he is a person,
after the trial, yes.
Sir, if he is a person in the position that he has been, don't you see this as an act of violence on the sovereignty in that sense of India? He has held the highest level of the highest office of this country, sir. Can that be taken lightly?
The Supreme Court has taken a view that it is not an act of terrorism, sir, in the past.
On the basis of the cabinet approval, on the basis of the Tamil Nadu cabinet approval.
The act of terrorism or not is not the approval of the cabinet, sir. It is a completely judicial.
So remission was approved by whom? Who approved the remission?
Remission is approved by the Tamil Nadu State Assembly.
Yes, so the state it doesn't matter if it is the cabinet, the assembly or another panel. It is a Tamil Nadu state at work here. It is it is on the basis of the efforts of the Tamil Nadu government that this effort. So Tamil Nadu government, whether it's BJP, whether it is AIDMK, whether it's DMK, whether it's Congress, you have to take responsibility.
Yes, we are taking responsibility for what? We are saying that there is a due process of law. The law gives the liberty for a convict to apply for a premature release. If the government is satisfied that this is a fit case for premature release, we have passed a resolution and send it to the governor under 161A. So what they want us to do, should we not follow the rule of law? Should we not give the citizens the liberty? If the conduct is good, should there not be...
Let me bring in Namit Saxena. Namit Saxena, where do you stand on this? Where do you stand on this? Because at the end of the day, even the centre has been very silent on this issue. If the centre felt that the state government was wrong, surely they could have argued against this, because the larger message that is sent out, that a prime minister can be shot and the killers of the prime minister can get away even after a 30-year sentence, it raises some very serious questions about what kind of a society, what kind of a country we are, and what our levels of tolerance are.
See, what the Supreme Court has done today is Supreme Court has relied upon the Perari Valan's judgment, which Justice Nageshwar Rao passed earlier in May this year.
Yes.
Now, what Perari Valan did was, they said that under Article 161 of the Constitution, the governor is bound by whatever aid and advice the Council of Ministers of that particular state give to the governor. The governor cannot travel beyond it. The governor is bound to accept it. Now, that is what happened in Perari Valan. So the Supreme Court said that 161 is not dead letter of law. So their centre argued against it. The central government argued that only the president can commute or remit the sentence. The governor cannot. The Supreme Court said no, you are wrong. The governor can very well do it, and the governor is right in doing it, and therefore we are allowing the premature release of Perari Valan. Now, what the Supreme Court has done today is they have said that once we have applied one particular yardstick to Perari Valan, similarly situated candidates have to be dealt with the same yardstick. Now, the Supreme Court has not acquitted them. See, these are established death row convicts, on which their death row was convicted to life imprisonment because there was delay in deciding their petitions, their mercy petitions which are pending. So this is not something they have been acquitted by the judicial system. They are established convicts. What the judiciary has done today is that because they have already undergone 30 years of incarceration, the Supreme Court says that there is no point keeping them in custody anymore. Let them be released. Let them have their whatever remaining life is there. This is what the what the Supreme Court has broadly done today. Now, you're right in saying that the message which may be taken is that that even if you kill the Prime Minister of the country, you can very well be released after a particular point of time. But the message is actually not this. Message is that one, there is right to remission. Second, the sentencing policy which we have, is reformative in nature. Now these,
yes.
The prisoners who have been released on premature, today, they acquired a lot of degrees. Their conduct in jail has been exceptional. So all these factors are to be considered when a particular prisoner is to be released in a premature manner. So considering, all these aspects, the Supreme Court has said, okay, we'll say that we'll release them prematurely, relying upon Perari.
No, but Navit Saxena, you would recall that in 2018, the NDA government had told the Supreme Court that setting the convicts in the Rajiv Gandhi case free would set a dangerous precedent. And yet the matter was kept in abeyance by the Tamil Nadu governor, who also passed the file on to the president, even as the Supreme Court had asked him to take a call. If a call had been taken at the adequate time, perhaps things would not have come to this pass. So at some level, the authorities, and we all know what the Stalin government has been saying as far as the role of the governor is concerned, perhaps somewhere there is some element of truth in that. Perhaps a decisive action either which way would perhaps not have led to this eventuality.
See, what the Supreme Court is telling Shatrughan Chauhan is that if there is delay at the part of the executive in deciding the mercy petition or the clemency petition, that delay has to be tilted towards in favor of the accused or the established convicts. Because that is wrong on the part of the state to keep hanging a sword on a death row convict that you can be hanged tomorrow or the day after or after 1 month or after 2 months.
Okay.
So saying this, they said that the Supreme Court said that because you have delayed it, so you can't acquire benefit out of it. There is a delay on your part. Therefore, we are converting their death sentence into life imprisonment. That is how it got converted into life imprisonment.
Let me bring in Ehtisham on this.
Ehtisham, that life means natural life, yes, but they have the right to.
Yes, Ehtisham Hashmi, where do you stand on this? Because at the end of the day, is it the state government? Is it the role of the centre? Is it the role of the governor? Because many of these institutions come into question over here as far as this ultimate situation that we are faced with, where reform, remission, all of these are of course very important aspects. But just look at the kind of case we're talking about. We're talking about a terrorist attack on the Prime Minister who lost his life. 15 others also lost their life in this particular attack.
Thank you so much for inviting me to this debate. As a lawyer and as a citizen of India, I just would like to say that this is an institutional matter, and this matter concerned about our national security, national integrity, and our constitutional wisdom. Almost 5 lakhs under trial prisoners are languishing in Indian jail. What about them? What prompted the government and Supreme Court to release the killer of our ex-Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi ji? It will set up a wrong precedent. We have to support the cause of our constitutional wisdom. If in this fashion we would release the prisoners like murderers of our Honorable Prime Minister, like we did in Bilkis Bano case, it will set up a wrong precedent. Government and Supreme Court are not above law and not above constitution. We should work under the constitutional framework, and this kind of a premature release where all those murderers were already on parole, according to me as a lawyer and as a citizen of India, it's a bad order, it's an illegal order.
Well, absolutely. Kovai Satyan, it's a bad order.
It was not like a normal crime, normal murder.
It's a bad order, it's an illegal order, it cannot be compared to any normal murder. Kovai Satyan of the ADMK, please respond.
I think enough and more politics is being played around in this case. From 26 convicts on Tada, it boiled down to 7 people. Out of that 7 in the year 1999, 4 are getting commuted to death and 3 are life. In the year 2000, it's where the political drama kicks in. DMK goes and asks to the governor for the remorse of Nalini and 2 others. And Nalini gets a commutation from death to life. Then the politics starts. Gandhi family comes and says, we have pardoned the culprits and convicts. And again, 2014, the remaining 3 deaths were commuted to life. This is where AIDMK come to the picture. After following the judicial process, wherein the death convicts are commuted to life and having served their life term in the prison with good conduct, that's where the case gets heated up. And our leader says, I'll invoke Article 161. The Congress, which was at center at that point of time, said, no, the state doesn't have the power to act unilaterally in invoking Article 161. It has to take the consensus of the center. Then it goes on. 2018, once again, our assembly, the leader Edapadiyar passes the resolution, and based on which this case has come to a finality right now. The entire process, nobody says that any individual is above the law. And public sentiment should only be taken into account in judgment. Nobody said. But there are political parties which had played their role, which had played their political drama.
Okay. It's come back to bite the Congress party. That's in essence what you're saying. And I want Lokesh to come in on this. You made your point. I think if I've understood you correctly, politics has been played over this issue, Lokesh Jindal. It is Sonia Gandhi, Priyanka Gandhi, Mr. Rahul Gandhi's statements are all out there in the public domain. And the ADMK spokesperson says that it is because of these very politics that we're seeing this eventuality today. It is because of the kind of positions that have been taken by leaders of the Congress party. You can outrage as much as you want right now, but you can't take away from what has already happened.
See, the entire nation knows that this is gross injustice. I mean, all other panelists, they are simply applying all their wisdom in trying to, give a form of a justice to this injustice that is being done by the Supreme Court. We will be appealing to the Supreme Court again. It's not going to be acceptable at all. This is something which is dangerous, disastrous, because the Supreme Court of India cannot have double standards. And for such a heinous crime, if the criminals, they walk free, then it is a black day in Indian judicial history. We are not going to accept it, and we are going to make sure that there is a appeal that is filed, and the perpetrator who assassinated Rajiv Gandhi ji, they shall serve the punishment that they ought to serve.
Okay, Kovai Satyan wants to respond to. Yes, Kovai Satyan.
See, Nalini gets the commutation from death to life in the year 2000. From 2004 to 2014, for 10 years, Congress were there at the center. Now, there was not even one appeal against that verdict. And taking that precedent is for 2014, 3 more death convicts gets commuted to life. And they were allied with DMK. It was DMK who initiated, who went and gave a petition to Fatima Bibi way back in 2000, asking for commutation. So when you kickstart trying to get political flavors by triggering the emotions of the people, you have to reap what is the end result. You cannot now call yourself that we are Puritans and everybody is talking wisdom. The court has not seen, it has gone through everything, every merits has been gone through, every demerits has been gone through, and the Supreme Court has given order based on this.
Okay, I'll let the DMK spokesperson respond to that.
3 decades.
Dr. Syed Hafeez, when you kickstart a certain kind of emotion amongst the people, this is the kind of eventuality that finally you see.
Exactly not. Exactly not. In 2000, out of 7, only 1 did the DMK government ask for commutation of the sentence. It is only for Nalini on humanitarian grounds. Rest of the 6, we did not intervene at all. That is the fact that I want to place. The whole scenario that is not. That is not politics, sir. How is it that the politics? How is it that the politics when 2018 you sent in 2018
what is the rational and merit behind asking for Nalini alone?
Nalini alone is the only woman there, sir. She had a small young daughter.
What is the reason behind asking for Nalini alone?
Nalini is a woman. She has a daughter.
Politics.
She is a daughter.
That's politics.
So being a woman and having a daughter is humanitarian.
You want to play the women's card. You want to appease the women.
Not women card.
That's your politics.
Politics, sir.
You want to appease women. You want to play the sentiments of women card.
It is certainly not. This is not the kind of politics that the ADMK does. It is completely on the humanitarian ground that our leader, late Kalaignar, has said that I will not come.
No, we came into the picture after their commutation to life came into. We never came into the picture during their death sentence. We came into the picture only after 2014.
Exactly, sir. But 2001 on humanitarian grounds for a woman who has a feeding daughter. The feeding daughter was dependent on her.
Okay.
So you cannot let a kid get orphaned.
Okay.
So that was the
you
ground
played the card of women's sentiments.
If this is what is the politics that you are going to talk, sir.
Okay, one second. Let me just come in here. Anurag Naidu, I just want to read out one quick line from the 2019 Lok Sabha manifesto of the BJP, which had promised zero tolerance approach to terrorism and even global anti-terrorism alliance. Now, at the same time, a centrally appointed governor in Tamil Nadu kept prevaricating on the state cabinet's recommendation regarding the release of the Rajiv Gandhi assassins. What stopped him from registering his disagreement to these recommendations? He could have very well done so on record. That's something that was entirely in the realm of possibility, but that didn't happen.
Yeah, but if that would have happened, Madhav, we would have been pointing fingers at BJP that they're politically trying to influence the courts and judiciary, and why we should not link the manifestos. In fact, putting these things on the manifesto itself is wrong. Madhav, who gives them the right to put, things that are under judicial provision or judicial influence to put on the manifesto? How can one
zero tolerism to terrorism can be a policy, sir? Why should, and that perhaps should be the policy also.
That is fine.
As a sovereign right, it's a sovereign right of a state to defend itself. It doesn't matter which party is in power. It's about terror and countering those who pick up the gun.
Yes. I was just coming to that. I was referring to more towards the AIDMK and DMK's manifesto, where they said, okay, we will ensure that the release happens and everything. But yes, BJP's point, the zero reference is a very generic statement. And if BJP would have, kind of directly or indirectly looked to be putting a point, then we would also point fingers that, okay, Supreme Court now, BJP strong government and they are trying to influence. And that is the BJP stand. Let's not look from the prism of politics, but from a prism of the fact that they kind of were good inmates in the jail and they served their sentence, in whatever capacity they could or whatever responsibility the court entrusted on them. And I think if there is still some gaps that can be challenged and taken up, but if or the whole of India or maybe 2 states at least strongly feel that there should be some mercy, and I think there should be a scope to give some mercy.
All right, but a very important question that arises, Lokesh Jindal, is this, that if the Congress is so outraged today, how come the DMK continues to be an alliance partner? They've been your partner in the UPA governments. They continue to be a partner in Tamil Nadu and here at the center for all practical purposes. Why not break the alliance?
My co-panelist over here said that there is politics revolving around this issue. But this issue for Congress is not political. It is more of emotional, because Rajiv Gandhi was just not a leader. He was the father figure for the Congress. He was like a father for the entire Congress political party. And when you talk about some form of a mercy and some form of a justice, and when you show sympathy towards those who killed Rajiv Gandhi, let me tell you, that is not something that every congressman feels. Every congressman feels.
Yeah, but that's all the more reason you should be answering my question. How is your relationship with the DMK still tenable anymore if it is such a deeply emotive issue? If your public position about the killing of a former prime minister, a former chief of your party, someone who, of course, as we very well know, as you say, is a mentor for so many and a father figure, how is it acceptable for you that the DMK has this public position and is welcoming the release of these killers publicly today? The chief minister has released a statement as much saying so.
Well, there has been a history with respect to this issue impacting relationship between DMK and the Congress. And it's for the High Command as well as the DMK leaders to deliberate upon it. I am not in a capacity or a position to comment or respond in any particular manner. I can only say that it is a black day for Indian justice system, and we are deeply hurt.
Okay.
Because the killers are walking free.
All right, no answers coming in there, but I'd like to thank all our panelists for joining us. Anurag Naidu, Namit Saxena, Kovai Satyan, Dr. Syed Hafeez, Lokesh Jindal and Advocate Ehtisham Hashmi. Thank you so much for joining us. Perhaps we haven't heard the last word yet. The Congress says that there's more to come. What will be their position from here to come as far as this case is concerned? That's what we'll have to watch out for. Thanks so much for joining us on Debate Number 1.